Do 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 do. 1, 2. Gotta turn the music down a little bit. There we go. How loud is my mic? Can I turn it up a little bit? I probably should. There, that's probably better. Sweet. Well, good Monday, everybody. I hope you are having a pleasant start to your week. And if you're not, then you can watch me color comics and maybe that'll help things out a little bit. Small amounts. Nudge in the right direction.
It says I can hear you loud and fine, dude.
Hey, cool. Well, good afternoon, Firu Nikarisu and Dr. Surreal, and anybody else on other platforms. Especially once I get rolling, I'll probably be missing most of the chat, but if I am going to catch any chat, it'll be in the Picardo, because I don't even have eyes on the other ones. Liz is there, ghostly in the background, to watch. And that is right when OBS Studio decides to disconnect and reconnect. Great job, OBS. So I wonder if it actually stopped the streams or if the streams are just continuing with a hiccup. Let's try refreshing on Picardo. Alright, it looks like we're still going. So nothing insane today, just going ahead and coloring up a prelude, getting more of that in the pipeline. Punching on these lines looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
Well, let me show you guys how. I'm not sure if you saw the recent update, one of the sketches for Dreamkeeper's Ascension. This is actually for a forest in the Ruskell district, which I am excited about, especially because it has sort of a cool way that it works. Lots of new stuff getting made for Ascension. There we go, I need to get the background gray that we're using for this arc. So confused outside today. It was snowing just a bit ago, and now I hear the birds chirping out there. Like it's springtime. Very confused March. Very typical Michigan March weather.
Are those the Dream World equivalent of opossums? Your little fox guys.
Kind of. They're kind of like little fox possum crossovers.
Are there lore-related fruits or veggies?
Lore-related fruits and veggies? Yes, definitely. We're gonna have a whole section in there on Androna crops.
Looks like he is saying, "Whip, get back in your cage. Don't make me get out of focus."
Now, keep an eye on the stream. OBS keeps on telling me, oh, I disconnected, I reconnected, I disconnected, I reconnected. So if the stream goes off, Liz, if you could let me know, then I can try to reconnect it. Don't know why last stream the audio wanted to play games, and it looks like the audio has been tamed. But now OBS is deciding to be cute. It's the magic of streaming. It's always going to be something or another.
YouTube is asking how Flexor services, the Flexor servers are going.
Oh, Fluxor? Seems like it's going pretty good. I'm cross-posting in there. Actually, one of the things I like about cross-posting in Fluxor, as opposed to posting in, like, and I'm talking about like the Dave Shears channel, where I post all the progress updates and like behind-the-scenes sketches and things. A lot of times for Discord, I'll go to post like a behind-the-scenes like sneak peek or photograph of some drawing, and Discord will do the thing where it's like, oh, this is just too big. You just have to buy Nitro. There's no way we could post this. So it wastes time, because then I have to be like, well, I want to share progress with people. That's why I have a channel, to share progress with. So then I have to stop, open up the file that I want to share and reduce the resolution. So basically I have to like manually spend time to make the files low res in Discord, because they want money for Nitro, which is obnoxious. Whereas in Fluxor, apparently, this like new upstart chat company, I can just post the images there and it works fine. Lo and behold, it just actually works. So I know they probably have some other features and issues that aren't quite ready for prime time yet. Like, I don't think they have a phone app ready yet, which I know they're working on it, but that would be kind of a big ingredient. But just for the purposes that I use it for, especially for posting stuff in Dave Shares. Stream keeps buffering.
And the card on YouTube keeps cutting in and out.
Yeah, I think it's on my end. For some reason, OBS has just suddenly started giving me issues. But now it's looks like it's got good upstream. The little green bars are all maxed out, so maybe we were just having some internet turbulence, some bad internet weather over here. So hopefully that's it for the bad internet weather, but I guess we'll see if it continues to give us trouble. If it gives us too much trouble, we might even try restarting. But if it's just like a actual bad internet weather over here, there might be nothing we can do about it. So we'll just have to hang tight, see how it goes.
Russia is actively going after mammoth power plants. I thought it was him. It seems like it's all of us.
Our powers combined, the internet will suck.
Have you seen in the Fluxor chat?
Have I seen in the Fluxor chat?
I'm just asking you this.
I've looked in there. It looks nice. It looks lively. It looks like it works. Again, I think it's just they're having such a big influx of users that they're sort of having to scale up their infrastructure pretty fast. So they're working on getting, I think, their basic stuff solid, and then I think they're going to start getting some of the additional features worked in, especially like mobile versions and things like that. But I think we're pretty dead set on migrating over, primarily because Discord is like, well, we're not gonna force you to do the photo ID shenanigans right away. We'll give it a little while, and then we'll force you to do it. So since they're still kind of dead set on that, I think we're still going to migrate over to Fluxor, because Fluxor is like, the whole reason for them being a good alternative is that they are going to actually be more respectful of people's privacy, and they're not going to try to harvest all of this data and then store it in an extremely insecure environment and then be totally stunned when it leaks out and, shenanigans ensue. So it'll be a farewell to Discord. Kind of good timing, I guess, because we're doing the website migration this year. I know I keep saying that. It's taking longer than I thought it would. But if we're going to be sort of shifting over our website services and store, it makes sense that we'd also be, if we're going to migrate stuff, let's migrate a bunch of stuff at once, get it over with.
I'm glad you're working on Prelude. I miss Prelude.
Yeah, I love Prelude. I love Prelude, love the graphic novels.
I wish we could do Prelude faster, though. I want to go back to the weekly. I have so much material to play with.
Well, I wish we could do everything faster, including Prelude. So you are preaching to the choir. But at this point, the only way we could really go faster would be to... I mean, when I say the only way we could go faster while maintaining our standards and creative quality and all that stuff, the only way would be to hire more people than just us. And so that's kind of contingent on Vivid Publishing growing just a little bit more. We're actually a good amount of the ways towards that goal, but we're not quite there yet. But if we keep on doing what we've been doing, if you guys keep on sharing our stuff and helping the Patreon grow and introducing new people to the books and stuff, I think it's especially going to become probably a good deal more streamlined to grow after we get, some video games out there on the market. And I know Skirmish is kind of going through a major refactoring, so it's taking a little while to get Skirmish on deck. But once Skirmish is out there and we can get the full 8 base characters and the expansion decks out and they get those all animated and people playing it, I think we're going to see it become a little bit easier to start scaling the audience even more and growing and bringing more stuff to more people. And then when we get more stuff serving more people, we might be able to get some more resources to get more hands on deck, and then we can make everything just a little bit faster, which I love. Would Lilith be that person who gets upset if a movie based on the book changed the ending?
I bet she would.
Yeah, I think, especially because she would be, of course, the one who had read the book.
I think that would be us too. If we had a movie or a TV show and then they wanted to change it then to Dreamkeepers.
Oh, like if someone was like doing a Dreamkeepers adaptation and then like the ending is changed.
Yeah.
Well, it's always this sort of thing where now that I'm older, I'm like, well, people can go and read the book. If you don't like the movie, go read the book. It's still there, But I remember when I was 12 years old, even watching Jurassic Park, I was like, wait a minute, the book had more stuff in it than this. But, you figure out like, well, the book had way more stuff in it than the movie, so maybe they actually needed to get some space.
YouTube says it sounds like the audio is coming out.
Sounds like the audio's cutting out. Yeah, I think it was earlier. It shouldn't be cutting out now. It looks like we're got a pretty good connection at this point. But yeah, earlier in the stream it was cutting out.
I'm not sure you're moving. I'm just watching carefully.
Yeah, well, if you want to see if like where I'm at, you can refresh and
I did.
yeah.
I did. It's just that your pink tool, your palette thing was moving fast.
Also, you guys, like Liz is not on mic today. She's just chilling, doing some other stuff, manning the keyboard. So if you're thinking, oh, the audio is cutting out because I cannot hear Liz, only Dave, it's like, nah, that's fine. That's actually normal here. Also, speaking of creators being able to produce more stuff faster, I saw an update on the Harry Partridge Patreon the other day that he's going to be able to do some more of his animations, largely because sales of the Dr. Bees shirts went really well. So anyone that was watching Harry Partridge, sharing his latest Dr. Bees animation, maybe picking up a Dr. Bees t-shirt, your support will be felt in the form of more Harry Partridge animation in the near future. So that is nice.
They say the Lord of the Rings movies are a good take on parts in the book, too. That's true.
Yeah.
Kind of adds to it, it doesn't take away.
Plus, I think sometimes for a good adaptation, you do have to subtract some content. Like, if they just straight up, try telling this to 12-year-old David, but if they just straight up took, the Jurassic Park story, turned it into a movie, every line of dialogue, every scene, that would be way too long of a movie, and the pacing would be not optimal for a film at all. So it's just, there's a reason that they call it an adaptation, is because you really do have to, figure out what the core appeal, what the core sort of, thrust of a story or a franchise is, and then you have to, figure out how that will translate into a new medium. Because different mediums are going to, be able to surface different elements or facets of the value differently. And if you don't understand that and you just try to, cram everything in there, then it might not work out too well. I don't know, I think good adaptation is probably a very difficult thing to pull off successfully. Sometimes people do it. The Jurassic Park film, I think, is a great example. Probably the Lord of the Rings trilogy movies are really good examples. Although, I will say, this is just me personally. Personally, I feel like they're a little melodramatic for my flavor, but, that's just more of a personal preference. That's not really an objective critique of oh, it turns out they're a little on the melodramatic side. Shouldn't have done that. It's no, clearly they should have, because it works very, very well, and almost, most of the people that are really into it, that's one of the things they really enjoy about it.
I think I want to go wait until all the Dune movie parts are done and then binge watch them.
Oh, that sounds nice. A nice Dune binge. I know they made old Dune movies too that I still have not seen, so it's... I think I saw the recent new Dune movie, the first one, and that seemed like they did a good job putting that together. Is that really V's eye color? Could have sworn it was a more intense brown. I'm gonna go grab just a swatch real quick, double check. Reference. Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened, but that's alright. We got our eyes back to normal. Just especially that one panel, it's like a dead center close-up of her face. She was wearing contacts. It's okay, I took care of it.
Man, what's this, Bobby will get punched. Bobby has black eyes because he gets punched by default.
Bobby's full-time job is just taking slugs to the eyes. sword fighting with my thermos on the desk. We'll see if I can get it all done, but I think I can get the Andruna map lore done this week. Because the last part of the map is Calypsa and then the Eridu Delta down south. And I got the Calypsa map drawn yesterday, and I'm really pleased with how that came out. Lots of lakes. So if I've got that drawn, and if I draw the Delta map, then I just have to do the stories and lore and landmarks and, you know, designate all the different location names on both of those maps. And I think I can get that done this week alongside, you know, upkeep on Prelude, graphic novel, other things. And that will be a big, big chunk of the lore book ready to rock.
Can you explain to them that in cartooning, if the dental looks off, it's like a character flaw?
Can I explain to them that if the dental looks
Yes,
off?
If the dental, if the teeth. The teeth on a character have to look good, because if they look weird or yellow, it looks like a character flaw.
Oh, yeah.
Please explain that to them.
Liz is saying that I have to explain to the chat that in a cartoon, gross yellow British teeth are bad, and nice normal white teeth are good.
Otherwise, you think about it too much. It's supposed to look like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are edge case exceptions based on style, but yeah, generally speaking, when you have a cartoon where everything is simplified, everyone having perfectly, you know, like the whites of their eyes are perfectly white, their teeth are perfectly white, that's sort of like the standard and normal way to stylize it.
Otherwise, you think about it.
Yeah. Whereas if you do anything differently, then you're adding information that is like a deviation from the sort of the out of the box style. So so it's sort of like understood that you're trying to deliver a message if you have a deviation in the way you portray their teeth or their eyes. Now, in real life, if you look at a person, are the whites of their eyes literally totally white? Not really. And are their teeth totally white? No, they're like an ivory color, like off-white, eggshell type of situation typically. And that reads as normal. In fact, if you see a person where they've like gone to the, I don't know, the bleach factory, the tooth whitening emporium, they've gotten like fluorescent neon LEDs installed in their teeth, and it just blinds you with like a pure white ray of light. That usually comes off as more weird than like a natural tooth color. But, you know, that's not how things work within the context of a cartoon. So in a cartoon, white teeth are generally normal in most cartoon styles. And so if you have the teeth suddenly be yellow, then it's because like the character is supposed to be more like off-putting or gross or weird or something like that.
Gary would know, but it says if the audience is spending most of the time looking at the character's teeth, then they aren't looking at the rest of art.
Yeah, it's the same general principle where it's like when you do a cartoon of something, you don't necessarily spend time drawing every single pore on the face, unless that is what the character is all about, is like weird numbers of pores on their face. You know, it's like, now sometimes there can be a place in cartooning for that, but it's typically when you are trying to draw unnatural and weird attention to a topic, like what, you know, like in Ren and Stimpy, when they'd have the sudden cutscene where it goes from animation to like a close-up of one of their faces, and there's all these like disgusting, you know, boils or pieces of broccoli sticking out of their nostrils, and just like this insane amount of uncomfortable, gross detail illustrated into their face in a static way. Obviously, that's an example of a cartoon style deliberately adding all of this detail, because at that point, the subject of the cartoon is emphasizing like these disgusting physical details. But most of the time, a cartoon is not about emphasizing that. It's trying to... The style is literally used to filter out things that are not relevant to what is being communicated, so that you can focus on what is being communicated with more clarity. And usually what is being communicated in a cartoon style is like the motion, the actions, the emotional temperature of the character, their feelings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Fred Flintstone wouldn't have hurt teeth, but nobody's thinking
Yeah. Fred Flintstone had. Is there no dinosaur dentist? There probably
There's
is.
probably an episode.
There's probably a dinosaur dentist. There's so much Flintstones. I'd be surprised if they don't have something like that. Grunt is actually doing them a favor by keeping them from getting cavities. Possibly. Becomes more difficult to get cavities if you don't have any sugars or refined carbs in your diet, because there's not that much for the bacteria to snack on anymore. Even Gorse has these pearly whites. And if I'm being realistic, I don't know how diligent Gorse is about brushing. He does not look like the type to be fastidious with his hygiene regimen. Look at Daryl's Grim Reaper cloak. A little bit darker. A little bit closer to Batman. And this is such a close-up. We're gonna give his nose lines their own color too, because the camera's very close to his nose.
Squirrel yelling at you.
Oh, is there? Did we? Oh, I'm sorry.
I kind of.
Oh, you gave him some walnuts. All right. Well, hello then. Yes, you're getting attention. Yes, I see you.
You can see me through the window, by the way.
I know he can see us through the window. That's a large part of how they signal when they want a refresher on the walnuts. Yes, hello squirrel. You got walnuts and you got attention. You may now proceed with your day.
Do some dreamkeepers have fangs?
Some dreamkeepers have fangs. Yeah, sure. Fangs are cool. And we'll get a little bit of gradients on there.
Nano doesn't remember anyone with fangs.
I don't know if we've shown any characters or if we have any prominent characters with like really in-your-face fangs.
We could.
I know sometimes we have characters where their teeth are kind of sharp looking. Like Ravat has kind of pointy teeth. But I think if anything he just has like maybe slightly more exaggerated canines. I wouldn't say they're like fangs, like, you know, venomous fangs like a viper where they're like retractable and all that cool stuff.
He's come back from the nuts.
Not sure exactly why, but Bobby really benefits from some subtle gradients on his warm tone. Just seems to make him a little more shimmery and golden, I think.
G on YouTube says hi, Dave.
Cool. Well, hello G on YouTube.
You should draw Paige again, says Corbin.
Oh yeah, I like drawing Paige.
She wants to know, how are you today?
Doing good. I had soup for lunch, so that was nice. I've got a coffee with cinnamon next to me, so that is also very nice. And I'm working on Dreamkeepers, which I love it when I am working on Dreamkeepers. So it's all good. Gonna work on Dreamkeepers, and then later today I might be able to work on some more Dreamkeepers. I am getting pumped for Ascension. I think it's gonna be a really fun book launch to finally get just a big, badass lore book out for the whole series. Alright, we got their lines colored up nicely. Got their a little bit of gradients here and there. And the backgrounds, as you can see, should be pretty straightforward on this one.
What would happen if Ravat found out how much we all hate him? If he had an anti-fan base.
If Ravat had an anti-fan base, he'd probably be low-key pleased about that, actually.
He'd be thrilled.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of people that he is inspiring negative emotion in, and they can't hurt him. That would be fantastic. Be like checking all of his boxes.
Yeah, cool. disappointed by this information. Sorry. Ravat would like it.
Well, he'd be excited about your disappointment as well. So, bad news, sorry.
You're gonna hit the Ravat emotion card here.
Oh yeah, you're gonna hurt Ravat's feelings. That's the thing that happens.
He really is just that evil. He's got a lot of spunk to wear those boots. Those high boots.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of disregard for other people's perceptions to wear those boots. That's a prerequisite.
Oh, we made a hell of a villain. He's got good boots.
Yeah, it's all about the boots. You just put the right boots on a villain, the rest writes itself.
No, it is snowing here.
Snowing again, yeah. It was snowing earlier, and then the snow stopped, birds broke into song. Now the birds have suddenly vanished and the snow is back.
It's very nuts. They think Ravat's a monster. We got a squirrel out here. That's getting really, really.
Oh, is one of them getting a little on the entitled side?
He's a little entitled. He's the one yelling at you from the tree. Gesturing through the window.
Does he not understand that I'm like a friend who provides nuts. I'm not like a slave nut delivery service.
Wait.
These squirrels need to have some appreciation.
Oh, now the two of them are chasing each other.
Oh yeah, they get.
So it's territorial issue.
Sometimes they get in fights.
They even fight nobody, dude. They even fight.
Fighting over access to the nut porch.
The nut house.
Yeah, fighting over access to the nut house. That's exactly it. Yeah, the two wolves metaphor. This is the two squirrels metaphor. There are two squirrels, one that is totally entitled and one that is a thankful little squirrel. Which one do you feed? Not sure if there's a way to split them up out there. Time to get my sand. I took a photograph of some sand, and I like to use it.
I'm curious if you remember the metaphor about the two wolves.
Yeah, I saw that.
Inside you, there are two squirrels.
Inside every person, there are two squirrels.
Got one.
One that is filled with gratitude, and the other one that gets all the nuts by pushing around and having its way. There we go, just tweaking the color of the sand a little bit so it matches the color underneath, but I still get the nice texture from the photo.
We have some questions here.
Oh, questions? Yeah.
Who is NARP? How is NARP? Why is NARP?
Who is NARP? How is NARP? Why is NARP? Those are all very good, deep questions, which we might just get some answers to as this story arc progresses.
This next half hour.
The funny thing is, I'm not even joking. There's going to be a little bit of NARP lore coming up in this story arc, everyone.
Why is he NARP?
Because what would happen if he wasn't NARP? The thought keeps him up at night.
Why NARP? I wonder.
Of course, why NARP is also a thought that keeps him up at night.
Why not NARP?
He doesn't sleep very well. It's not his forte. Someone kidnapped a Muppet and dropped him into the Dreamkeeper's universe when he was young. And now, this creature that doesn't belong here and somehow dimly senses it is just constantly running around trying to figure out where everything went wrong. Poor Narp. What are you laughing at now?
And they want you to publish Finding Your Inner NARP. Bestseller.
Finding Your Inner Narp. I think it'd be more of an effective book if we were like, how not to be like this guy. And there's just a giant picture of Narp on the cover looking stricken. Just ask yourself, what would Narp do? And then do the opposite.
What is your favorite game?
My favorite game.
Do you play games?
I would say probably my personal favorite game. I'll just list a handful because there's a very small number that vies for the top slot. Number one solo game, definitely chess. I enjoy that quite a bit. Not good at it, but I enjoy it. House on the Hill, Betrayal at House on the Hill is a really, really fun board game. I like that. I also think poker, just Texas Hold'em poker is a really well designed game. So poker, chess, Betrayal at House on the Hill, all really good games.
Those are all I think they wanted new games, Dave.
Well, there's Chess 2 coming out soon, I hear. They've tweaked a lot of bugs. They've addressed a lot of the balancing issues. I think the queen was way overpowered. They're nerfing the queen. I think they're adding more kings so that you actually kind of get like more than one life in there. It was a little, yeah, it was a little too easy. Like as soon as someone gets checkmated, it's like there's not really any chances to bring the game back from that. Yeah, there's loot boxes now based on where you go on the chessboard. There's a randomizer that will possibly dump some different skins on there so your pawns can really rock it out.
Animal wants to see more Angry Bee.
Everyone wants... V does not want to be angry. It's just that she lives a life that is constantly doing things.
Pointing next to Narf.
And, you know, let's face it, Mace can also be trying at times. Especially in his younger Prelude iteration. He mellows out a little bit more when he's older in the graphic novels, but... Prelude Mace, he could be one to try the patience on occasion. Don't believe me? Ask Grun. Is there anything in this folder? No, this folder is a lie. This folder is a trick. Goodbye, folder. I'm gonna call this background now. What now? Dune Sand, you have done your duty. Paper texture, always a pleasure. But now I need to open up one of those previous preludes in this scene to make sure that I am not just like willy-nilly putting shadows on there and then every time you turn the page it looks like they're in like a different night scene. It's all got to be the same basic night scene. Sound effects help.
Yeah, this is exactly.
Alright, well I'm just gonna move this whole shadow folder over, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Delete these masks. Delete. 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 Now let's go ahead and actually mask this whole folder so it's only affecting things in here. There we go. And then we put new masks on so we can actually have the color be where we want it to be. Although actually I don't even want to change... I actually kind of like some of that paper texture in the sky. I just need to change the color of it from being like a gray. Yeah, I think actually leaving a little bit of that texture in there kind of looks cool. Not full level, so I will mask a little bit of it out. Get like a brighter look right here.
So what would an evil mace look like?
Evil Mace? You mean Nega Mace? He's in this comic arc. You have seen him.
Apparently some random guy is 7325 has not.
Oh, hold on. I'll open up one of the previous comics with Nega Mace. Actually, I'm not sure if Nega Mace has been publicly released yet. Maybe I can't show him. But he's coming. If you want to know what Evil Mace looks like, we have him in this arc for your enjoyment. This is just like a toning layer. Where's the ambient occlusion lighting? There we go. Oh, there's a swatch for it too. That's actually handy. I'll come back to you later, toning layer. Yes.
Nano is saying that Grok is no longer free. He's asking for subscription.
Oh.
No videos, no image edits, nothing leaves on text box. Firu says it's almost like they use people to help work out the bugs and they want to make money off of it. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and that, apparently now it has clamped down into the likeness and you have to pay for it. Subscription. Like, I don't know if it comes with, like, if you subscribe to Twitter, pay that, and give us a free, or what's going on.
Well, I guess I'm about to find out because if anyone's listening and they're like, "What was Liz saying?" She's saying some of the users have figured out that Grok, it used to do just like all this like cool free image stuff, and now they are trying to charge people for it. So it's like, oh, they want to get paid for providing this nice service. Nuts. Well, I guess it was actually on my list today because, you know, getting close to the end of March, I need to start showing people what the pledge pin is going to look like for the end of March. And I've been actually using Grok to make really cool mock-ups of the pins because, like, the designs are neat, but it's like I would love to actually show people what the pins will look like when they're actually done. And Grok has been able to do some pretty cool mock-ups of that. Like, actually, last month was going to be tinsel. And you can see, this is like when I make the design, this is what I make. And it's like, yeah, see the design, and here's the whole design is going to be them together, and it looks all cool. So it's like you can see when I do the mock-ups, I kind of try to like make the metal look a little shiny so people can sort of tell what it'll look like in the end. And that's fine. That's nice. It does the job. But I always get really excited when I can actually look at what the pins are going to actually look like. And Grok is able to actually take something like or was able to take something like this and do something like this, where it's like, you know what, this might not be exactly how the glitter fills look or whatever, but this is pretty close. This is pretty fancy. So anyways, February was tinsel. I think March I was gonna do Ravat, you know, start framing the whole thing. So I was gonna actually make an individual Ravat mock-up so people could be like, hey, this is what the Ravat pin will look like, you know, blah 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 blah. So I guess if I go to do that later today, I will discover if I can still do that or not. Now I know we pay for I think there's like a little subscription that helps your account, and I think we have that. So it's possible that we are already paying enough that we can use it. So hopefully I can still use it.
Memo says Grok was bullied with lawsuits. I think that's what's happened anyway.
I think everyone is bullied with lawsuits.
Including us.
Yeah, as soon as you get to any kind of level of success or something where they're afraid you'll be successful, someone is going to try to cut you down to size if they don't want you to be successful. That's why I guess suddenly Valve has like lawsuits coming out the wazoo. So it's just, unfortunately, the law is in America often used not really as a tool for attaining justice, but more as like a tool for people to destroy businesses that they wish they could destroy, but they can't legally kill people. But what can they legally do? File some lawsuits. So that's just what happens. Giving everything a little bit of desaturation just does wonders for any night scene. If you're ever shading a night scene and you're making the colors darker, but you're like, it still doesn't really feel like a night scene, what am I doing wrong? Sometimes it is because there's less light. One of the things that goes first in your eyesight is the ability to recognize different colors and chroma, so your eyes kind of revert back to just dark and light, white and black, and differentiating value contrast. So if you're illustrating a night scene, you don't necessarily want to just like take the colors and then make it dark. You want to actually why is this not working? Oh, it's on the wrong layer. You want to also sometimes desaturate it or even give things a bit of a bluish tint. Which I don't think that the night, like the moonlight and the night, actually have like a bluish or purpley tint. There's something, it's in Sorry, I'm drawing a blank because I'm playing with colors right now.
Drawing.
Yeah, but it's in is it the Dinotopia guy James Gurney? Yeah, it's in James Gurney's book, I think, Color and Light, where he actually has a section on moonlight and why you have to sort of like, it's difficult to recreate the look of it, and you can't just rely on photographs. You sort of have to rely on like perception, because the brain actually perceives the moonlight differently than a camera does. Like a camera will pick up on like what it's actually doing, but the sort of blue or like cool tint is an optical illusion that has to do with the way our brains process the color. Alright, this is looking pretty good. Just a little bit of a firelight needed in that background down there, and then I can get on the character cell shading, which is kind of the fun part. Well, I mean, I also like the backgrounds. That's also the fun part. Everything is kind of the fun part. I like to draw. Yeah. And how is the highlights set up here? It's a screen layer at 84% with this orange slapped on top of it. So let's merge that, turn it into a screen layer at like 80-some% with an orange slapped on top of it, and then we can mask it all out. Oh no, not mask the orange out, mask the layer out. There we go. And then we can color it in just a little bit. Cool. That is now looking kind of nice and cozy. Let's just add some tiny little highlight additions to the props. Little bit of, yeah. So it seems like these props are catching just a bit of that firelight. Not too much. A little goes a long way, especially with something as far away as this crate. There, time for some character action. And I kind of like the panel backdrop shapes above just being this sort of a dusky, sandy tone. I think that's already pretty on target. And just a rough pass on the cell shading to get the basic areas established, and then we'll do something that actually gets the contours all nice and smooth and nuanced with the way they wrap around the shapes. But sometimes helps to get just a big picture, rough and sloppy version down first to help just establish the overall areas of light and shadow without getting lost in like tiny little contours on the characters. Gorse is way too fun to draw.
This is disgusting.
I just have too much fun with him and no one can stop me. I feel like if we let ourselves go, he could easily become like the plucky duck of the cast.
Oh no, the Gorse show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone tunes in like, oh, I want to see Buster and Babs have some adventures. And it's like, well, you're seeing Plucky Duck. You know who makes the cartoonists in the studio laugh? Plucky Duck. You know who the writers like to write for? Plucky Duck. You're seeing Plucky Duck. You want to see Buster and Babs? Too bad. Enjoy an hour of Plucky and Hampton. Now, I'm not saying, to be clear, I'm not saying zero of Plucky Duck and Hampton. They're perfectly fun characters. They add to the lineup. But, you know, maybe 30-70. 30% side characters, 70% main characters, something like that. But when Buster and Babs are in there like 10% of the time, and it's 90% Plucky Duck, Hampton, Plucky Duck, Hampton, Plucky Duck, Hampton. That's not quite the right balance.
Why didn't you buy the
They should have stuck to the novelization.
The junior novel.
I wonder if there were any Tiny Toons Adventures novels. I don't even know, but that'd be funny if there
They were
were.
children's books.
Well, I know there were, but they were like picture books, right?
Pretty much.
You can't really have like Tiny Toons literature novellas or anything like that.
Billy Silver's here.
Hey, Willie Silver, how's it going? Yeah, now the sun is coming out. Today is all of March in one day. We're going at a pretty good pace on this. I think we might actually get this one totally knocked out on stream today.
They're talking about the weather in the chat.
Talking about the weather? You got them started talking about the weather?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's snowing and sunny here, so we all have to hear about the degrees.
This is what happens when other people have things to do in their day. David just sits here in colors, and the conversation is like, "Well, it's nice weather out." Sorry guys, when it comes to David doing solo streaming, I can bring the art, I can bring a little bit of chit chat, but I will eventually drift off and just get into an art groove, which is, I don't know, might be fun to watch, but probably not like the most thrilling blow by blow like audio you've ever heard in your life. Oh, although I see, looks like Mambo's asking, will we ever know why V left the orphanage?
I answered that yes, but it's future training.
Yeah, Liz already answered it, but yeah, the like we definitely will. That's part of like the Prelude storyline that we've got all planned out. It's sort of like the big questions of, well, why is there no Paige in Prelude, and then there's Paige in the graphic novels, and how come Randy went from being in the Sabaton Towers to being in the orphanage? What happened there? And where did V go? How come V's not in the orphanage in the graphic novels, but she is in her and Bob? You know, so we have some big story, some story directions in the works. So I don't know. Prelude is like a lot more laid back in terms of pacing than the graphic novels. We can kind of like just chill, have some fun, but there still is like a pretty big picture destination in a plan for Prelude. So even Prelude, like the sort of like fun casual Dreamkeepers comic, there's still some pretty big undercurrents of a plot line that are drifting into the graphic novel eventually.
Mammo says the next Preludes are for Wisp and Vant, whatever, and it could be years, so spoil it, whisper it to him. He'll never told anyone. It's a short 3-page comic of her being inducted into the Troika by Cinder part of the story. Is that canon?
Yeah, I think it is actually. I would say it is that's what we have in terms of how V gets into the Troika. That's like a part of it. I would still say, I always try to caution people whenever we're talking about like what's canonical and what's not. It's definitely for sure super hard canon if it gets published into a printed book. Because that way, if we're talking about something and then we forget, and, I don't want people to be hanging their hat on something that might be subject to change later on. But if it's published in a book, then that's pretty much as solid as it can get. But that is like a comic, and it's a comic that we do have a couple of pages for, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe at the appropriate time we might even get that 3-pager printed up. Like, I don't know if it would be like maybe as like a special like feature towards like the end of one of the later Prelude collections, potentially.
Unless it's sketch of the month, it'd have to be formatted, but we can do it.
Yeah. Or it could be possible. Who knows? It's possible that we might even. I don't want to get into exactly what scenes we're planning on Prelude that far ahead, because we might actually be flexible as we get closer to the method in which we want to like interpret that part of the story. But it's even possible that some of that might find its way into Prelude itself, and it could be that the existing 3-pager is sort of like the equivalent of a concept draft or something. They already totally forgot about the whole, like, whoever has the staff is allowed to speak. That went out the window so fast.
I thought we forgot that. We didn't forget that?
I didn't forget that. The staff is still there, but they just stopped doing it.
As usual.
As usual. It was a nice thought while it lasted.
That's beyond them.
Yeah.
It's just Fox. Gorse always has the staff. Gorse is the main character.
Yeah, taking turns is a little much of a concept.
His teeth are leading the way.
Gorse's teeth leading the way.
Base on Twitch says hello and good evening. Wish you a good stream.
Oh, thanks. Good evening to you, too. Is it evening already? Time's flying. I always think of 3 anything as like afternoon. But he could be on a different part of the planet where it's already later.
Firo wanted to know. A few pages back in his prelude, Bobby was talking about joining the team, like tackling the dummy. Was he talking about the trucker or the Fall Guard sport one that it got in phase?
Oh, I think we can answer that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not really spoily. So yeah, earlier in this prelude when Bobby was tackling the dummy and he's wearing, I'm not sure if people can recognize, but he's in sort of like a half of a Fall Guard outfit, and he's got right now the big old poofy like boxing glove type of things, or they're hanging off his waistband. But when he was talking about joining the team, he was talking about joining the Fall Guard team. Not Troika necessarily, because I don't think he would even know that Troika really exists yet. I know he had a run-in with some shady characters in the last arc, but he's not really, like, he's not in the know on exactly what those characters are involved with. But he just knows his future has kind of been train wrecked, and he needs to figure out a plan B. So his plan B is like, I guess maybe I'll try being an athlete, since my other avenues are going to be shut down due to this child support stuff.
Nemo has another Crash Bandicoot screenshot.
Okay.
Those are really cool. Especially the ground.
Excuse me.
Look how,
Oh yeah, cool.
look how cool this is.
I can't. I'm clicking on it.
No,
I gotta.
Look at me.
Oh, that looks really cool. I can see on your screen,
Yeah.
and now I can see on my screen.
That's adorable.
Now let me show the stream.
Wow, like, can we make a game that looks like that, but with the right stone colors?
Browser
I like it.
properties. Oh, nice. Yeah, man, that looks super fun. Holy cow. Seriously, it kind of makes me excited for Dreamkeeper's video game ideas. I think we could have some really fun stuff at some point. Just running around on the docks as Mace, like trying to escape Grun.
In those shoes.
Yeah, in those shoes, exactly. Now I know first on deck, we do need to get Skirmish taken care of. Because we've already been working on that that's been in production hell for too long already. But after Skirmish is done, I do want to pick up the Dreamkeeper side scroller again. Because I think that'll be really fun. Alright, basic cell shading taken care of. And then what do we got? Cookies? Cookie settings. I don't know. Get it out of there. Oh, I need to turn off the browser thing here. There we go. Now people can actually see what I'm looking at. Sorry about that. It wants cookies. There's character highlights going to be screen with this as an overlay on top of it. So we'll make this character highlight. I like to put the cell shading on the highlight layer sometimes. Maybe just tone it down a little bit. Merge it. And put it to screen. And then put that orange overlay layer on top of it. There we go. And then mask it all out. And then I can shade it in a little bit. As desired. And look at that. A little bit goes a long way, but that's a nice effect.
Lives overseas Shark Week. Little Shark Week.
Shark Week. I like Shark Week. I don't know what about Shark Week.
Grun's Orphanage.
Oh, Grun's Orphanage is Shark Week. Maybe that's where Grun came from. I used to watch Shark Bowl all the time as a kid.
Shark Bowl.
They used to call it Shark Bowl, yeah.
Like what? And then it became Puppy Bowl?
And then it became Puppy Bowl, and then Shark Week was like, well, nuts. They ate our lunch, ironically. I guess we'll become Shark Week. Puppies are probably going to bully them and be like, well, now let's become Puppy Week, and then Shark Week is going to be like, nah, they took our name again. What are we going to do? Hyper-aggressive puppies.
you ever watch Street Sharks?
Street Sharks. No, I never caught that show. I saw the toys. I thought the toys looked cool, but I never figured out when the show was airing.
Apparently it was very stupid but fun. I was more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I knew knockoffs very well. I know all about them.
Oh, you were too sophisticated for Street Sharks?
Oh, yeah. I know what that's supposed to be.
Well, I mean, yeah, even as a kid, I understood, like, oh, this is like Ninja Turtles, but it's like sharks. And,
Not original.
yeah, I don't know how I had this, like, sense as a child, but as a child, I was like, Street Sharks, I like sharks, but this sort of looks like Ninja Turtles, and it seems, like, even as a kid, you just sort of had, like, that radar that told you that the people making this were making something that was very generic and just imitative. And, I mean, it should have worked on me. I was a kid, I liked the Ninja Turtles, and I really liked sharks, so that should have been, like, a slam dunk, but something just made me think that it was probably not going to be as fun to watch. So I don't know how I arrived at that conclusion, but I don't even know if that conclusion was correct in retrospect, but as a kid I was just like, oh yeah, well, might have just been that I was like getting a little older because, you know, I was a child when Ninja Turtles was having its big heyday, and then I was a little bit older by the time all the imitations came around. So it might not be that I was like so sophisticated. It might have just been that I was like young enough to get duped by Ninja Turtles, and then just a little bit too old to fall for it with all of the imitations. So that might be the explanation for how that went down.
Animals is the best opening. Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, yeah, Ninja Turtles had a really kick-ass opening.
Yeah.
Also, like, a good range of villains, like Rocksteady and Bebop, the cartoon versions were really fun. Dimension X, Krang in that robot suit. Just the phrase Dimension X, and then the Technodrome with the giant eyeball on top. That you could just hide in the sewer.
Sewer. Why do you need an eyeball when you're in a sewer?
to look, to watch things.
Underground.
April O'Neil's like, time to get in my blazing yellow jumpsuit and run around with a camera. That cartoon just had it. I don't even know if all of the remade cartoons are good or not, because I'm no longer 7 years old. I'm kind of out of the market, I guess.
Too cool for that.
I do remember though having
Draw
a.
your own Ninja Turtles now.
I draw my own Ninja Turtles now. I don't need you anymore, Hollywood. But I do have a distinct memory of trying to watch the new Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie at some point a few years ago and being like, oh, you know, I used to like Ninja Turtles. This one's supposedly like, oh, it's Michael Bay, it's newer, let me check. I couldn't get through 10 minutes of it before I gonged it. It was just so obnoxious. It was suffering a lot from that situation where the cinematography doesn't know what a tripod is, doesn't care what a tripod is. They've never heard of pacing. They are just going to jingle those keys in your face as hard and as fast as they can, screaming at the top of their lungs the whole time. And after 10 minutes of that, it's like, okay, if this is the movie, I don't want to watch like 60 minutes of this. This is like insufferable. I'm gonna nope out. I need some tasteful class with my Ninja Turtles, thank you very much. Which sounds ridiculous to say, but I mean, really, if you look at the old Ninja Turtles live-action movie, like the first one, it was actually done pretty well, and I think, surprisingly, it holds up pretty decently. Like, yeah, it's Ninja Turtles, yeah, the premise is all goofy and silly, but still, the movie takes itself just seriously enough that it actually stops to have some decent pacing and cinematography and build-up, and because of that, it's actually something that you can sort of get into. Now, it's still Ninja Turtles, but you can kind of get into it and, like, believe it a little bit and have some fun with it, as opposed to, like, just, I don't know if Michael Bay, like, chugs Monster Energy drinks or forces his cameraman to chug Monster Energy drinks and then just starts...
Maybe make money off them.
It seems like he just takes the camera and, like, ties a bungee cord to it and, like, hurls it through a series of tubes, and then later on in post he's like, listen, add CG turtles to this, and they're like, what? The camera's like flying all over the place and like randomly spinning and like looking here and there and all, like, this is just a gigantic mess. And he's like, yes, exactly, now make turtles in it. And then that's the movie. No thanks. Again, I need a classy cinematography on my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so that I can really get into it.
Okay, so no, they got the story down. Apparently, 4 brothers.
Yeah.
Very original. Hold on. It was 4 brothers whose father was a scientist, and one of his coworkers was up to something shady, and led them to accidentally being turned into half-human shark people. And they're trying to bring the mad scientist to justice and hopefully get turned back to normal.
Oh, so they're like people trying to get turned back into normal from being shark people.
But they also have to stop the narwhal man.
There's a narwhal man?
I saw the toy.
I'm starting to think maybe I underestimated this series as a child. Maybe I was probably wrong. This sounds awesome. Well, I guess whatever was happening with OBS stopped happening, so I think it was just internet having bad weather over here, as goofy as that sounds.
They each get turned into some sharks. Great one. Pico Tiger and Hammerhead. You know, because obviously the mad scientist was like 4 years old. 4-year-old mentality.
And they all think they have it the worst until they see the poor bastard that got turned into a goblin shark. He's just like, well, why? Why did they choose a goblin shark?
But they can breathe on it. Breathe on the air.
It'd be great if they got turned into sharks and they couldn't breathe air and they just start immediately like dying, like, God damn it!
That's not what happened. They had gills. I think the toys had gills.
Yeah, well, I would assume if you have a show called Street Sharks, they can breathe the air and the water, because then they could have underwater adventures and on land adventures.
But the lesson is watch out if you're really good at skateboarding, or you may be turned into some sort of mutant animal.
Watch out if you're really good at skateboarding. You might get. So do they not have like the ooze? I kind of feel like, you know, maybe they could just let everyone use the ooze in all these Ninja Turtles knockoffs. It's like, you know what? If the ooze works and we've accepted it for the Turtles, can we just let these other series also use the secret of the ooze? It's like, oh, the ooze got into the wrong hands and now someone got turned into sharks. You know, it works. Maybe Ninja Turtles had to be really possessive. They're like, as soon as anyone else has a storyline that uses the ooze, we're done. That's our only claim to fame. That's our big point of appeal is the ooze. We need exclusivity on the ooze. It's like, really? Do you? I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe if Street Sharks was able to incorporate the ooze into their storyline, that just would have been the kill shot to Ninja Turtles. It would have been over.
They want to do what we're doing for the 20th anniversary of that publication.
Oh yeah, it's coming up on 20 years since we first published Volume 1 of Dreamkeepers. So we are planning on doing, I'm not sure exactly what, but we're probably going to do something special for the anniversary this year. If I can get it done in time, I would love to have the Ascension lore book and that first campaign being launched, so people could get into that. That would be like a really fun 20-year anniversary, but we'll see how fast I can get it done. Oh, you want to start to be like, oh, here's where we come from, here's what we've done. Yeah, because we have released like a good amount of like books and games.
No, but that's not line 1.
Yeah.
You can worry about that when those are released.
Okay.
When it's 20 years of skirmish, you can do that. You got a book.
Oh, it's like it's specifically the 20-year anniversary of Volume 1. That's true.
We have a lot to talk about, apparently. So look into the future. Like, turn around, look what you did.
Time for glints and glows. I can't turn around and look what I did. I have to look always to the future. I have to keep on moving like a shark. I will die if I stop making new things.
I know that. Yeah, we all know.
Must make new cool things. Do. Just one more book release. I swear. It's just one more hit. Oh, Shamrock Shake. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Did you live through it?
I think it's past due.
With the Shamrock Shake?
I mean, 6 days. Yeah, 6 days after.
Well, they probably had it like during St. Patrick's Day, I would assume. Mace is so pleased about his bravado bead. He earned it.
You could have a Shamrock Shake, but it'd be kale.
Yeah, I have all kinds of green liquids. Kale smoothies. Kale smoothies. Total variety.
Apparently they are mint flavored. I've never had one.
Oh, no kidding.
Color throat like scared me to death.
Well, I like sometimes with the kale smoothies, I just like throwing actual mint in there and having it actually flavored like by real, the plant of mint.
Broccoli smoothies. Do the orphans catch their own fish to eat out of the ocean aside from banders? So.
Yeah, they actually do some of their own fishing. So they get good, healthy wild caught fish. Not that they are super appreciative, but it's probably pretty healthy.
Probably pretty good at scaling fish.
Yeah. Got some nice haze from the firelight here, but I need to knock out the haze on the foreground characters in front of the fire, because then that'll help establish a nice little bit of depth in the scene. Just a little bit. When you got something glowing, and it's like the background characters are going to be behind it, and the foreground characters are in front of it, that's just a nice little opportunity to establish some depth by showing which characters have the glow on top and which characters are on the other side of it. Same basic principle as if you have like a bunch of like smoke or haze or mist or something in the scene. As if there's things that are in the foreground, then you can show that they are on top of the mist and that things behind it are behind them. And it's just a nice little method of helping add some atmospheric perspective into things. So it's sort of like little things like that will help keep a group like this from turning into just like one cluster. This way we at least get to show that there's sort of like a background layer and a foreground layer of the characters. So yes, it is still a big cluster of characters, but we can show it's a big cluster of characters and also use it to help define some depth in the scene.
We want to know why Boris is larger and heavier than the others. Does he get more food? Is he lazier? Does he do less physical work? I think it's metabolism.
I think, yeah, I think partially it's genetics. I think he's just got like a bigger, huskier build. And he probably also eats more. He might be a little pushier.
Do they do spearfishing?
Do they do spearfishing? Yeah, sure. They'll get fish with anything they can. I think the line and pole tends to work a little better, but they'll spearfish if they can. They've got those electrical net shock, those like sort of like shock rods that they used to hunt the banders with. So those would obviously work on other fish too. Alright, we've got our glints and glows. We've got a nice overlay here. I think maybe one of the last things I need to do is duplicate this panel art over to that second panel, because it is supposed to be just like a literal copy. So, what's the fastest way to do that? Merge visible to new layer. I'm just going to call this panel 2 in all caps, and we'll see if we can get away with that. Underneath the border, and we made sure to have the border turned off when we did this. And so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I'm just going to stick this layer on top of it. Let's go ahead and select inside this border area, apply to selected pixels only. Why not? Area scaling leveled up a bit. And let's go ahead and mask out everything except for that part. And then we uncheck them so that we can move this layer without moving the mask. And let's see if we can just go... Yeah. That looks pretty good. And then we turn off this little thing that helps us tell what we're doing. Bam! Panel duplication success. Didn't even need 2 tries on that one. Yes. Epic! Totally worked. Alright. I think this one is ready to rock. All I gotta do is unmask the dialogue balloons when it's showtime. And just a few minutes to spare too. So 1 prelude knocked out on stream. Rest of this week, I'm going to be looking forward to doing a bunch of Ascension work, maybe some Volume 6 on the side. I think I got most of the decorations done for the GarageBand campaign, so we're just going to get the campaign video put together, and GarageBand should be happening before too long, so keep an eye out on our newsletter and stuff like that. Oh yeah, of course, we are getting close to the end of March, so if you want to keep tabs on what the new art attacks are going to be for March and what the pledge pins are going to be, hopefully I can make a cool mock-up of the Rovat pin. Although even these Grok mock-ups, I can't make them show the animation. Like the plan for Rovat, like Tinsel is actually going to have her tail hinged and able to swing. With Rovat, I want to have a pivot point right in his hand here, so the knife spins in his hand, because I think that would be cool. That would be how he would want his pin to go, and I don't want him to be unhappy. And of course, more samples of more Ascension sketches will be dropping into the Dave shares in Fluxer and in the old Discord. And that's about it. Also, the store migration, it's still happening, but with all of the other stuff we're juggling, it has taken us a little longer than I expected. So in the meantime, if you wanted to pick up any stuff at like a discount, get any like, I don't know, books for Christmas presents for people or whatever, now is probably a pretty good time to sneak in there and steal some deals.
Memo posted something today. He's got some Pavilion.
Oh, cool.
Gadgets.
Oh, nice. I love seeing the other Vivid authors and seeing like old school Disney characters. That's really cute. Thank you,
Don't
Mamo.
say it very often today. I appreciate that, Jay.
Yeah, let me show what Mamo worked on really quick here. He made an UberQuest style model today. Nice.
Oh, his power's been out a lot.
I'm sorry your power's been going out a lot. Like, it's not fair. You got like a whole country pounding on your power grid.
Who knows what that's gonna.
Nice. Look at this. Even with major power outages and everything, Mamo is still able to produce all this fun stuff. Some ABD characters in there. Thank you, Mamo. Indigo's Cindy. Cindy, I haven't seen more of you lately. Looking good. May's Ms. Mullibro. The Miss Mullibro almost looks a little bit like UberQuest style to me. Oh, Vanth getting a... I like her skull shirt. That's cute. Got Vanth, Tiamat, Genevieve and Kaylee, Mace again. I get the gadget in like a... That's a cool hybrid style, actually. Oh, nice. I can tell that's like the UberQuest style coming through there. That's really cool. So yeah, in addition to Dreamkeepers, if you guys are like, I need something to read and enjoy, don't forget there's Bethelium, there's UberQuest, there's GarageBand. We've got some fun stuff for you. But I don't think we have any more fun stuff for you this stream, because I have colored my comic, and I got some errands to run. So I'm gonna call it a good day. And thank you for joining us. I hope you have a really nice rest of the week, and we will be streaming again on Friday like usual. So take good care of yourself. Stream ends in 5, 4, 3, 2, and a